Hello everybody, welcome back to Monologues, welcome back to the channel, but most importantly, welcome to the very first Week of Cryptic special event. Oh my god, he's finally doing it! Yeah! Woo! As you can tell, I'm pretty fucking excited about this. This is something that I've been slaving away over for the past month, and I've been thinking about even longer. This episode might be a little bit longer, I'm not really sure, I'm just sort of shooting from the hip, I'm just talking, so it's however long as it is, but I can give you guys a little breakdown of how the episode is going to be structured and what I'm going to be talking about specifically. So first I'm going to talk about the idea behind Week of Cryptic, how this was conceptualized and all of that stuff, and then I will talk about the process itself, and then after that I'm going to talk about the big topic of today's monologue, the power of entertainment. Now this is something that I've been wanting to discuss via monologues for a while. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start this show to begin with. It's just because this is something I have a lot to say about, and that's mainly just because this is kind of like my driving force, you know what I mean? It's the reason I get up in the morning, all that stuff. I chose media and arts and entertainment in general as my path for a bunch of reasons. One is obviously it's my passion, but two, I think that there's a lot of power within it, you know. Before I get too into that, I can already feel myself itching to talk about it. Let's first talk about the special event itself. So starting out, I can tell you guys that Week of Cryptic is something that, again, I've been wanting to do for a while, and it was mainly inspired by, the special events that would be on televised networks and stuff like that. I remember particularly as a kid, I would watch a fuck ton of Cartoon Network, and whenever they would have their special events, whether that was like a day where they aired one type of show or a week-long thing where you got multiple episodes from one show or some shit like that, I remember always just getting super excited. One, I think it's nice to have it so that you have like a deficit of content before you get all of this content, all at once. Just the anticipation going up to it, it's like this, I can't wait, you get yourself pumped up. In a lot of ways, it's like just the announcement alone is all the advertising you really needed, and you don't need to be reminded of it via a commercial or some shit like that. It's just like, hey, we're doing this, and then they give you the date, and you take a mental note of it, and then you're just waiting until the day actually comes. And so I wanted to replicate that feeling, but sort of approach it from the other side, So instead of being the person who was actively anticipating and waiting for the special event, I would be the one who was conducting it. I would be the one who was making it. And that in and of itself was quite the process. Like I said, Week of Cryptic has been something I've wanted to do for a while, and as a result, because of that, it's gone through many different phases and many different iterations and concepts and stuff like that. I settled on how I did it this month for two main reasons. One, I was kind of scared to have 3 weeks where I didn't upload anything. I felt that was going to kind of really hurt my numbers, and so I thought it would be best for me to do 3 pre-streams, one for each week leading up to the event, just as a way to generate traffic and get people to interact with the channel. That I think was a good idea, but I didn't, take into account how that would mesh with my other obligations. This is not my job, you know what I mean? As of right now, this is like a passion thing. This is something I'm doing within my free time. I don't get paid for it, and I cannot, supplement any income via YouTube, you know what I mean? I have an actual job, I have other things I need to focus on, and so unfortunately, I had to actually cut down on a lot of the live streams and whatnot in terms of their duration and whatnot. And then I had to cancel the last one entirely, and it's just because I did not have enough time to live stream and set all of that up and deal with that, while I also had to prep for the week-long event itself. Monologues are easy enough. These are not that hard to do. Basically, I just sit down, turn on my microphone, and then I just talk. That's very easy to do. There is some minor post-processing involved, just with me going back to edit out long pauses and whenever I mess up and stumble over my words and stuff like that. That does require some work, but generally speaking, it's not as strenuous and involved as making a decryption episode. The decryption episode for this week, that was what really threw me off. I remember I was like, I want to do an hour-long special. Sorry, and not a week-long, an hour-long special. I've been wanting to do an hour-long special for a minute. I've actually attempted to do this multiple times, but each time I get close to doing it, I end up cutting so much stuff out just because I'm like, this video is fine as is. If anything, it could be more concise. And so I cut things out to make it more concise, just so I'm not wasting people's time talking about nonsensical bullshit just for the sake of hitting that arbitrary 1 hour mark. But this time around, I was like, okay, I'm going to actually plan it out to be an hour long, you know, so there's enough content in there, but it's still just as concise as a 15-minute video, or like a 30-minute video, you know. It's just, there's a lot of information and there's a lot to take in. It's just presented in a very streamlined, like, you know, here you go type of package. And that was tough. I don't think I really took the time to recognize how daunting of a task it is to not only like conceptualize, right, come up with a good idea, but then to script and then voiceover and then edit and then do all of the extra fancy stuff I do with decryption. As a one-man team, that was tough. It actually, as a matter of fact, while I'm recording this, I'm still working on the decryption episode. I'm like halfway through, you know, editing it. It will be done by Wednesday. I can assure you of that. It's going to come out Wednesday. I'm not going to fumble the event. But still, I remember just kind of sitting there and thinking about it while I was working on the script particularly, and I was just like, Jesus, you know, next time this is going to have to be something of like, you know, the month before I finish all of that month's uploads long before they even come out. Usually I just do it the week of, so that I have a bunch of time to just work on all of the week of cryptic stuff. And honestly, like, I'm making it seem like I didn't properly plan this out. I did plan it out. I actually made sure that before the month even began, like halfway through February, halfway through that month, I made sure to plan out all of my deadlines and everything to make sure that I was doing it in a healthy and efficient manner. And I was on track to do that, but I ended up catching a cold last week, and so I was out of commission for the whole week. And so that's kind of why now I'm scrambling last minute towards the end of it. And that's just because, like, you know, I had like a legitimate reason for, I'm not going to, like, you know, get on myself for getting sick. It happens. At this point, all I can do is readjust and try my hardest to reach my deadlines and stuff. Originally, I was just going to cut down the decryption episode. It was going to be 30 minutes instead of an hour. But when I finished the script, I was like, yo, this is too perfect of a script right now. I say everything I need to say. I do it in a very efficient and effective manner. I'm not wasting time. I'm getting straight to the point, and it's a damn good point. I have to keep it the way it is. So that's kind of something that I put on myself. I actively chose to, you know, sort of crunch a little bit, you know, take that extra workload on for the sake of giving you guys a better video, as opposed to one that was a little more condensed and streamlined and, you know, less impactful but easier on me as a creator, you know what I mean? So that's kind of why I shouldn't say creator either. I fucking hate that term. I'm just gonna start calling myself an artist. But yeah, that was kind of the thought process behind decryption. And this one is a little different. Initially, I was going to do what I did last year, where each episode of decryption had its own unique, like, sort of like branding and style in terms of its like graphic design and whatnot. Now I'm restricting that only to the thumbnails, and that's just because that was a lot of extra work that I put on myself, and it made the process as a whole a little unfun, because each time I would make a new video, I would have to come up with an entirely new way to stylize it and whatnot, and that was just too much. You know, this is supposed to be fun. Again, this is not a job for me, but even when it grows to the point where I am able to make money off of it and, you know, sustain myself with this alone, or, you know, with this in tandem with like another job or something like that, the only reason I'm even pursuing this is because I enjoy doing it. If I go into it with this idea of I'm going to run it strictly like a business and I'm going to make sure everything is like 100%, I'm not going to have fun with it, because I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect artist. A lot of the times what I need to do is just, you know, recognize that I made a mistake, but it's not one that's going to severely dampen the viewer's experience or take away from the quality of the video overall, you know? And so I adopted that this year, this philosophy, I mean, with the decryption episodes. Like, you know, we had the Oregairu one in January, and then last month we had the 3U one, which was a precursor and an announcement for the event itself. And those videos were a lot of fun to make because I was just focused on making something that I enjoyed, you know, getting my message out there, or making something about something I enjoyed, getting my message out there, and then enjoying the overall process, you know what I mean? And that just led to me not only having more fun with it, but being able to inject like genuine, like natural humor into it. You know, my videos this year are much funnier than any of my other videos to date. I genuinely do believe that. And it's just because I focused more on enjoying the process and having fun with what I'm doing, as opposed to trying to, you know, make it out to be something it isn't, you know, at least not yet. And so that's why, you know, this decryption episode has been tough. It's been kicking my ass, but realistically speaking, I think this is going to be the greatest thing that I have ever made up until this point. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to usurp it anytime soon. It just is so perfect in terms of its pacing, the execution, how I balance humor and, like, you know, legitimate commentary. Like, it's fucking perfect. Legit. I think it's fucking perfect. And I am so glad that I waited this long to talk about Monster Hunter on the channel, because, like, whenever I, like, you know, listen back to the audio I record for it, or I'm watching back what I've edited thus far, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is it. This is the shit. And so I'm going to try and grind the rest of that out tonight, just because I don't want to have too much of it left waiting for me the actual week of the event. It starts, you know, tomorrow as of my recording this. I need to get the bulk of it done, which is editing all the audio and laying down all the video clips and all that stuff. And then after that, it's going to be so easy for me to do all the extra stuff, like the title cards and the music, you know, cards and stuff like that, just because I'm doing that within the channel style, as opposed to, like, you know, making it super personalized to Monster Hunter. You know what I mean? Just because this is a thing that I'm doing for myself, just as much as I'm doing it for Monster Hunter and to express my love for the series. And so that's kind of Week of Cryptic thus far. I've been wanting to do the last part of the special event, which would be Mono Live. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and the idea behind that is just, like, you know, switching to a live stream format that is much more playback friendly. You know what I mean? My old style of doing live streams was super oriented towards, like, being there in the moment, just because it had the layout and the chat overlay and all that stuff. With Mono Live, the idea is going to be to just make it so that they can see me, you know, so it's that intimate one-on-one experience, but the focus is going to be on just me and what I'm playing. I don't really need to put, like, chat stuff in there anymore, because YouTube has an automatic playback feature. So if you want to see what these fuckers are saying, you know, because y'all are wild as fuck, like, goddamn, you could just, like, open that, and then you'll be able to see it there. And I feel like that works much better for, you know, like, if I were to be the not the person who is, like, you know, making the content, but the person who is consuming it, if I were to be in, like, your guys' shoes, I would definitely appreciate having something that is more so structured to look like a let's play, as opposed to a live stream, because then I can miss the live stream and then go back and watch it like nothing happened, and you know, enjoy it, because it's, like, intended to be enjoyed just as enjoyable as a standalone experience as it is, like, an active experience. You know what I mean? And so that was it with Week of Cryptic. That's the thought process behind it. That's how it's been going thus far. And I guess the last thing I would say is that next month I'm going to make another video standalone just for this announcement, because I know a lot of people may not watch this video in particular. But next month I'm taking off entirely. You're not going to get no fucking decryption, no monologues, no monolive, no nothing. I am going to probably live stream a bunch of games like Rise and stuff like that, but those would be like standalone live streams, you know, where I literally just, like, connect my Elgato, have the game up there, no webcam, no nothing, and I just get on and I, like, shoot the shit with my friends, and I record that, and if anyone wants to watch it, they can watch it. Just because, again, this has been a very strenuous and time-consuming thing that I've been trying to accomplish right now, and so I just feel like I need a break, definitely. I'm going to need a sizable break after this, and I think that's fair because I've given you guys a lot of content this month. I'm going to continue to give you a lot of content this month, and it's all of quality. It's all really fucking good. So if you don't like that, you can bite me, motherfucker. Anyways, with that all out of the way, let's get into the actual topic of today's episode, the power of entertainment. Now, entertainment speaks to me as a medium, or not as a medium, I guess, but as a career choice, is a path, is a profession, for a lot of reasons. Obviously the first is that I enjoy it. You cannot be like, someone like me, right? How I operate is that I wake up, I either go to work, I go to the gym, or I'm working on this channel. More often than not, especially for these past couple of days, like as soon as I get home from work, I'm working on the channel, or if I'm not working on the channel, I'm working on other personal things like that I think would be beneficial to my career as a whole, So I've just gotten into trying to really hone my sketch skills and create a defining style for the channel and stuff like that. I have a lot of plans for just like standalone art pieces with the channel in general. I just need to develop the skills to be able to execute those, put those into action. And then there's also the other stuff that I've been trying to learn. I've been trying to get better at After Effects. I would not have been able to make as snazzy of a promo for Week of Cryptic as I did if I was not putting in time after work to learn how that program properly works and stuff like that. Or I guess a better way to put it would be learn how to properly use the program. The point is, I had to put a lot of time into really coming to understand the Adobe Creative Suite as a whole, and that's what allows me to create something so uniform in design and in visual presentation. You know what I mean? That was something that you can't be doing stuff like that if you're not absolutely passionate about something. You know what I mean? If you don't have a drive to get better at it, but to use it to make something of yourself, So my first reason for thinking that entertainment is powerful is because I know what it means to me. You know what I mean? It's a avenue for me to express my innermost self. It's an avenue for me to get out all the thoughts and all the feelings that I cannot properly express through words, Honestly, I try to be as aware as possible in how I present myself, in, who I am as a person, like just generally, because I feel like for me, right, the only person who is always going to be on my side, on my team 100% of the time is myself. You know what I mean? I'm always going to be there. I'm the one constant within my life. And because of that, I go into every situation trying to be as objective and fair to myself as possible, even if that means I have to do something I don't want to do. I try not to lie to myself because I don't get anything out of lying to myself. I'm actively working against myself at that point because I'm convincing myself of something that quite frankly just isn't true. That's not going to benefit me in any significant way. I'm just deluding myself. And then on top of that, I also try to really stay in tune with my emotions so that when something comes up, I can be as open and concise and clear and direct about it as possible, So if someone asks me about how I'm feeling, or if something is deeply troubling me, I will be conscious of what's going on enough to the point to properly express and put that into words. But sometimes I can't do that. I'm thinking constantly, and for the most part, a lot of what I think is never really expressed through my speech. A lot of it I don't think I will be able to effectively express through my speech either. A lot of it I think I just need to show people, and the only way I can show people is by meticulously crafting and creating these scenarios through my work in which people can come to sympathize with it or empathize with how I'm feeling, because my thought process, my philosophy with these types of things is that realistically you can't change or dictate how someone is thinking. I don't think there's anything such as changing a person's mind or some shit like that. At the end of the day, if someone decides to change how they look at something, to shift their perspective, that's a choice that they're actively making. You can play a part in that, but you can't, initiate that change or that shift for them. They have to do that themselves. The only way you can really even begin to approach changing someone's mind is by simply shifting their perception through how you act, through how you behave, and through what you do, what you show people, And that's kind of how I've been living my life recently. Is I don't want to tell people how to think. I don't want to go into every situation thinking that I know the most, that I have all the answers. I simply just want to do me and hope that in turn that inspires other people to be their best selves. That inspires other people to become more critical of who they are as individuals, to try and approach the level of self-awareness that I have within myself. Being able to sit down without any script and just spitball for minutes on end and have those strings of thoughts be as cohesive as they are within this episode is a skill not many people possess. And I'm not saying that to be egotistical or not self-conscious, but sound conceited or some shit like that. It sounds kind of conceited, but realistically, it's not something a lot of people can do. And I think the only reason that I can do that is because I have learned to think. That came from writing, honestly. I think that writing really helped me just practice getting my thoughts out in a concrete, tangible sort of way. There is nothing like just sitting down and writing out what you're thinking. It clears your mind, but more importantly, it helps you develop a sort of structure within your thought process. What works better in terms of, how to lay it all out in the open, and that in turn makes it easier for you to process what's going on internally. I write how I think, and I think how I write. And that has, I feel like, boosted me in ways that nothing else could have, and just like seeing how entertainment has impacted me. Like, for example, right, a lot of the aspects of my personality nowadays are reflective of what I've consumed as a kid, as a young adult, and what I want to create within the future. So for me, fully understanding how intimate someone's relationship could get with something that isn't even conscious or sentient, you know what I mean? How intimate of a relationship and of a connection someone can form with something that is like a video game or a book or, a film series, a genre of music or something like that. Me fully understanding that myself kind of tells me that this may be it, you know what I mean? This may be how I help other people shift their perspectives, how I help them change their perception of the world. I guess as a whole, the reason why the things that I'm so into nowadays struck such a chord with me is not because they told me how to think. They gave me all the tools to reach my own conclusions, and thus that made those revelations more meaningful. There are a lot of instances where I reached the same conclusion as the ones the original artists and creators intended the viewer to reach, what they wanted them to take away. But in other cases, I've come up with ideas and reached points where they never even thought of anyone getting to, you know what I mean? And it works for me because that in turn makes it more personal and intimate to me as an individual, which makes it something that I want to further incorporate into who I am as a person. There's nothing like just being able to watch a movie or play a game and just sitting there and being like, I don't think anyone on the planet understands this the way I do. There's something beautiful within that. And it just makes me sort of, again, very eager to share my ideas throughout my own work because, again, I intend people to have a certain takeaway from what I'm doing and what I'm dedicating my life to. But because what I do is so intricate and so detailed and I put so much work into it, it's so multi-layered. I think that's a good way to put it. There are so many different conclusions and ideas that people could reach and come to. They could be vastly more beneficial than what I want them to take away to begin with. And just in general, I feel like that's why entertainment is so powerful as a whole, When done properly, all it is giving people the tools to view the world through a different lens. And that's what's important. You should never go through your life thinking the same way for more than a couple of years at most. Your mindset should always be evolving and your mindset should always be changing. And I think the best way to do that is by challenging your perception via what you consume. People, I think in general, need to be more thoughtful of the type of media they take in because it's all, like I said, it's all reflective of you as an individual. What you choose to put into your body will show via your body. You know what I mean? This can go for both the physical aspect of it, the physical side of it, but then also, again, the mental part of it. And I'm talking about the mental part right now. The only reason I'm the way that I am now is because of what I've chosen to consume, what I've chosen to take to heart. And as a result, I am one very distinct individual. And I'm not saying that to sound conceited or be like, I'm better than you guys or some shit. I'm not. I'm just different. You know what I mean? I've come to fully realize myself, and I want to help other people get to that. And for me, the only way I know how to do that is the way that I did that. And that's via entertainment. And that is it for today's monologue. I think that's a great place to stop. Like the video if you liked the video, and dislike it if you did not. Comment down below letting me know what you think of the event so far, and what you think about what I had to say about entertainment. The links to my social media are in the description below. You have my Twitter, my Instagram, and more importantly, a link to my Discord server where you can have a one-on-one intimate conversation with me. Be sure to share the video to anyone you can, and finally subscribe to support monologues and the channel. Again guys, Week of Cryptic is just getting started. Be sure to stick around for Wednesday's Decryption episode. I can promise you, you do not want to miss the very first 1 hour special of that show. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. I'll see you next time.